CuriosityStream is the streaming service for people who want to know more. And now check out Curiosity's new series, Queens of Ancient Egypt. When pharaohs held the throne, their wives held the power.
We see her taking precedence over the pharaoh, an absolute mastermind.
All hail the queens.
This is unprecedented.
Watch Queens of Ancient Egypt now on CuriosityStream. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at CuriosityStream.com.
It's time for some new azaleas. Perfectamundo azaleas from Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs. These innovative new azaleas bloom longer and brighter than the rest, giving you months of flowers in spring and in fall. Take your pick from 10 different colors, shapes, and sizes. All have been trialed and tested to ensure your success and satisfaction. Look for Perfectamundo azaleas from Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs in the distinctive white containers at your local garden center.
If you really like this episode, please support our podcast by going to patreon.com/truecrimewives and get lots of great extras.
On the Good Wife's Guide to True Crime, we discuss crimes that some may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Hey folks, it's time to grab your glass of wine because the Good Wives, Fancy, Colleen, and Christina, are about to serve up another true crime case.
So don't feel like you have to go from question to question. We kind of try to have a really casual conversation and just learn about people's stories. We laugh, we have fun. You know, we know that these are dark subjects, but you know, if you don't laugh through it and you don't have a good time through it, then, you know, I mean, what are you doing, you know?
Right. Well, without humor, I probably wouldn't have made it through it.
Exactly.
I'm still going through it.
I think that's how a lot of people make it through darkness, you know. Comedy and laughing is the best medicine, right? So, so we just try to have a casual conversation. So, but first, why don't you share with our audience who you are and how you're related to the case of Sherokee? It's Sherokee, right? Or is it Cherokee?
It's actually pronounced Cherokee, but it's spelled Sherokee.
Okay, so just go ahead. Why don't you tell our listeners who you are and how you're related to the case of Sherokee Harriman?
Okay, my name is Michael Edwards, and I am Sherokee Harriman's by-law stepdad, but the way she looked at me was her dad.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in her life her whole life. Me and her mom met 2012 or 2011, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And we started dating, and that was the first time I met Sherokee. And
how old was she?
Oh, Sherokee had to be, let's see, she was 14 when she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
You make me do math.
How making you do math? Because I don't want to do math.
Sherokee was about, I want to say 10 or 11.
Okay. So she's good age, right?
Right, and to me, she was real little, and her mom and I were dating, and I'd go hang out over there all the time. Sometimes they'd come to my house and stay the night, and so it wasn't like me and her mom were dating, and we were hiding our relationship from the girls. The girls knew we were dating, and of course, Heather, my wife, being a woman, she's already talking about marriage, and I'm like, whoa. Hold on now. Hold on. We got a 10-year plan going on here. We ain't doing all that. Well, Sherokee, mind you, Heather and I had probably been dating, I don't even know if it'd been a year. And Sherokee looked at me and asked me, she goes, would you be my daddy?
Oh.
Yeah.
Right in the feels.
Yeah. Me and Sherokee had a very, very special type bond.
Oh.
She was a daddy's girl. Me and Sherokee, we had a bond and we got along together better, me and her sister. Yeah. But Sherokee, the entire time that I was in her life, I don't think she bucked up to me, but maybe once or twice.
Sure.
But Cherokee did have a hard life. I know the book, if you've read it, it touches on some of it. Some of it's not all true. There's some aspects of it, like in one aspect of the book, it says that Cherokee was in love with her cousin. Wasn't that she was in love with him? They were close. She loved him, yes, but they were real tight. And he passed away 2 years before Cherokee. He drowned.
Oh, geez.
And he was 18 when he drowned, and that really
hit her hard.
Oh yeah, bad.
Yeah.
I recently was up in the attic cleaning out stuff because I have that kind of time right now.
Yeah, don't we all?
So I ran across some notebooks of Cherokees I've never seen before. And they were from, she was in a behavioral school for a while. And it was from when she was in there. And I knew Cherokee, she just wanted to be loved. That was one of her big things. She had this dream of fairy tale love. And this notebook I found just cements that to proof, just because it's all about love. Love, 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 love. That's all that's in it.
Oh.
Like somebody gave her an essay to write love 400 times, because she did.
Right. Now, I know you guys, I heard in the book, because I actually listened to the book on audio. I haven't gotten all the way through it. But I that's how I listen to a lot of my true crime stuff, because I don't have time to sit down and actually read a book, even though that's my preferred way to do things. But, when I'm driving or doing laundry or whatever, I listen to true crime, and I listen to the book. Now, in there, it says that you guys referred to her by a nickname of Chick. Now, how did that happen? Where did that come from?
Okay, Chick is something I refer to her as. That if anybody else called her Chick, Heather could get away with it, but anybody else, Cherokee go off on them. That's kind of my little thing. Of course, me and Heather were dating, and I don't know what reference Heather said something to Cherokee, but she called her Chicky Chick or something, and she was just goofed off. And I'm like, I just start calling her Chick. I was like, hey, Chick, come here. So Cherokee, I guess, adapted to it, and she liked it, because it's kind of a little pet name. Daddy calls her Chick.
Right.
But like I said, if her granny called her Chick, or if Cheyenne called her Chick, she wasn't having it. Nobody else. Heather got away with it a couple times, but that was kind of like our special little thing.
Right.
And it's I was wondering if anybody was ever going to ask me about Chick. Why did you call her Chick?
Why'd you call her Chick? I mean, I just wanted to know. I was like, okay, I tried to rationalize it in many different ways, and I was like, I just don't know where it comes from. So
it's kind of a little pet name, like a dad would give a daughter, like,
My best friend calls me Chick.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, Chick, love you, Chick. And her mom calls me that too, because she looks at me like another daughter.
Right.
And she's from originally Milwaukee, but she lived her whole life in Arizona. And so I just assumed it was something like from Arizona. I don't know.
Well, I grew up in California, and I used to call my best friend Chica. Because there was such a Spanish influence, and there was a lot of Hispanic culture there, and everybody spoke Spanish, in California. So I didn't learn Spanish. I tried to, I couldn't do it. I took French like an idiot, but but thank God I didn't take German. That would have been completely useless.
Oh wow!
But I used to call my best friend Chica. That was hey Chica, So that's funny, but. So tell us about what was Cherokee like? We want our listeners to know her. I mean, this is a tragic story, but we like to focus a lot more on how we got to that and who the people were, as opposed to just the event that happened. That's kind of our thing. So
Cherokee. Well, all right. Look, she was a sweetheart. Like I said earlier, she was obsessed with love. That was her goal in life, was to be loved. The way I see it, and maybe because I'm a guy, is, and I call it fairy tale because that's what it reminds me of like Cinderella, Snow White, all them, they wound up with true love.
Right.
That's what Sherokee wanted. And besides the fact of being loved, Sherokee, now don't get me wrong, she did have attitude. But on the other hand, she had a loving, caring personality, talented. Oh my gosh, this girl could she'll watch YouTube videos of how to do hair, makeup, and nails. Watch it one time and do it perfectly. She drew, one of the first pictures she ever drew for me is a picture of my dog. I have a beagle, and his name is Shoeshine. And if you ever look at my page, or even I think there's even pictures of Shoeshine on her memorial page, but I know there's a picture of her standing in a puddle, squatting down, hugging Shoeshine.
Right.
He's short, but she drew a picture of a beagle and put on there, I tried to draw you a beagle, and it actually looks like a beagle.
Right.
And it's actually on my wall in my bedroom right now, and it's been there since we moved into this house. We're still in the same house that Sherokee lived in. It'll take a while for us to get out of here, but just because of that reason. But like I said, Sherokee, she was full of life.
Sure.
Have bad days? Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Right.
She get along with her grandmother? Not at all. Through the book, you'll hear some things like, it's like Sherokee had buttons. You push them, she's going to go off.
Right.
And grandmother knew it. And her grandmother would intentionally push those buttons to get Sherokee riled up.
My mother-in-law was like that with my oldest daughter. Just constantly pushing on her. And now she wonders now why my oldest, who's, she's in her 20s now, she doesn't speak to her grandmother, and her grandmother doesn't understand. And I'm like, you pushed her away as a child, I mean,
exactly.
you drove her insane,
right.
and it was hard. Yeah. So I totally understand that. There was some things about the book that I was doing when I was listening. It was talking about how, Judith said that baby had problems since she came into the world, and it's repeated a lot. So what does that mean? Is that just that she just, you guys had a hard life, that her dad wasn't around, or?
Well, yeah, Cherokee's dad was not her biological, as we refer to him as a biological sperm donor.
Sure.
He wasn't in her life.
Right.
Until about maybe a year before she passed away. I don't know whether for sure if he knew about Sherokee or not. Heather says he did know. He says he didn't know. Who knows? But he's in jail or prison most of the time anyways. But they were talking, like I said, about maybe a year before she passed away. There were talks of them meeting, actually physically meeting.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as it went. Sherokee even said something about maybe she could stay a summer up there. And I looked at Heather. I was like, somebody we really don't know. Hell no.
Right.
You got to earn that trust. That ain't just because you're the sperm donor. That ain't happening.
Well, and you hear such, I watch a lot of trash reality television, like Steve Wilkos.
Right.
I hear that kind of stuff happen every single day. That kids, they went and spent the summer with their, stepmom and dad, or their dad and stepmom, and just bad things happen.
Well, right. And when she would speak about him or something, see, she had a little worked out, and I can't remember if I was daddy number 1 or daddy number 2. There was daddy 1, daddy 2. And that's what she would say when she was trying to say, well, which one she was talking about.
Right.
She was talking about both of us. But to be honest with you, I don't think she would have bonded with him like she has with me.
Yeah.
But you did ask about her younger life. In the book, I don't recall how much it's touched on it, but her and her sister were molested at a very young age by her older sister's dad. While Heather was at work, he touched them and stuff, but they didn't tell Heather. And one thing turned to another. When Heather found out was when DHS was coming to get them because of that. And then they were trying to pin stuff on Heather because Heather didn't do anything about it.
Right,
And
right.
know
That
about
happens.
It. How are you going to do something about something you don't know about?
Don't know about. Right. It happens. Like, and that's a thing. I know that it's hard because they do have to figure out whether the mother was complicit, in not doing anything, or if they actually just really didn't know. That happens in quite a few cases.
I believe 100% Heather didn't know, because if Heather did know about it, she'd probably be in prison right now.
Right. Right.
So
yeah.
I believe Heather didn't know.
And so that kind of warped Sherokee in a way, yeah, you think?
That did, and it also, because of all that, Heather lost her parental rights to Cherokee and Cheyenne. So Heather's parents adopted Cherokee and Cheyenne.
Oh, my.
Wow.
And Cheyenne, Cherokee's older sister, is special needs. She has Asperger's, autistic. So Heather's mom babied Cheyenne and pretty much trashed Cherokee.
Oh, that's so sad.
Right. So it's kind of like Cheyenne was the golden child, Cherokee was the reject and whatnot. And I think that's honestly how Cherokee saw things when it came to her grandmother and Cheyenne and Cherokee.
Right. I mean, prolonged bullying and her feeling inadequate, and it really takes a toll. Right.
So, and, Cherokee was a beautiful young lady.
Very gorgeous.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have my hands full. When she gets older, I'm going to have to sit on the front porch with a shotgun.
Right. She was stunning. And she had a smile that went on for days. Like, I watched a lot of her YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's dancing. And, I mean, she's just adorable as all get out. But, when you have those kind of traumas, it can create a darker side to you, an angry side. And you mentioned her being in a behavioral school. Was that because of some of that aggression that had come out?
Yes, and they also thought that she was schizophrenic.
Oh boy.
She's had so many labels. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
What I was actually, of course, I was with in her life when she went to the behavioral school. And I don't know if she actually did this because I think I was at work, but they were saying that she grabbed a can of gas and was pouring it around the house.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Right. And I can't say whether she did that or not, but that plus her anger and fighting with her grandmother, which made her angry at Cheyenne as well, wound up, they put her in this behavioral place.
Yeah.
And we would go see her when we could on the visitations. When I wasn't working, I would go.
Right.
Which I didn't get to go very often because I was always working. But when they released her, I was there.
Yeah.
And she just had a really hard life. I mean, I thought I had things bad because I had the mean, evil stepmother, but I didn't go through half the crap she did.
Yeah. And that's so hard at a young age.
Everything becomes very centered and you really feel it. So I'm 25, and so I have a more recent understanding of what it means to be actually bullied in today's days. I know Fancy's daughters are around a little bit younger than me, but it's definitely something that it has to happen to you to kind of understand it the most. And I have some very, very hard times with bullying and then feeling some inadequacy from both my biological parents and dealing with a lot of abandonment issues and that just how it wears you down. And so I have attempted suicide 4 times in my life. One, I think twice in middle school, once in high school. and I was 12 and 13 the first time.
Right.
And so it is so hard to go through it. And so knowing Cherokee's story, really, my heart breaks for her.
Did you know that she was going through this type of bullying before the incident happened?
You mean with her family?
Her family and even the kids that were bullying.
I knew she was going through bullying. We've even filed reports with the school about the bullying.
And they had done nothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I know that. I know that route. Trust me. I know that route.
Yeah, they keep saying how zero tolerance for bullying. Well, if that's the case, you need to do something about it rather than just have the parents fill out a form.
Yeah. Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And a quick, don't do it again. That's their solution.
Right.
Really?
That's not a no. And I've been around that. I've done that entire conversation. I've had that conversation. I'm like, that's not a no tolerance policy. That's an absolutely we don't give a crap policy.
Right.
You know, like
now had somebody done something to Cherokee and Cherokee lost it and beat them into the ground.
Right.
It's all on Cherokee.
Yes, that was exactly what I said. That was exactly my argument. Now, my daughter was very teeny tiny. My oldest is the one that went through the most bullying. My youngest has gone through it too because of the exact opposite. She developed very young. She's, kind of an awkward kid. But my oldest went through a lot. And from her own very good friends even that tried to do things to her. And that was exactly the conversation I had with the school was, what if they had pushed her so far that she loses it and she does something, it's all going to be on her. It's not going to be on that kid. It's going to be on her. So exactly. Because they're not physically beating her to a pulp, it's okay. Like they're torturing her every day. They're saying all these things. They're doing stuff, but that's okay. Even, because she should just take it, I'm like, and, I teach my girls to be very strong. I've always taught them to stand up for themselves and be strong and that there's always going to be people that want to put you down, no matter how good you are, no matter what you do, especially if you are rare, and talented and pretty or, and they, whatever it is that they are upset about, that they feel inadequate about themselves. And I've always tried to teach my children that bullying is not about you. It's really about the bully. They feel inadequate. Yep. There is something wrong with the bully to make them feel that way, to treat people the way they do. So you should really almost feel sorry for the bully, like you go home and you think about how hard it must be for them because they've learned that somewhere, and so a lot of bullies are being bullied at home themselves, and just like you're saying was happening with Cherokee, so she's going from school to home and in both places she's not feeling safe. And that's not good. So I know in the book though, it explained that the day that this happened, she had been checking in with Heather, right? So had she moved back in with her mother at that point, or was mom living with the grandparents too? What was going on there?
Before I came in the picture, Heather moved in with her parents.
Oh, okay.
To be close with the girls. I mean, if you can't get custody of them, well, what's the next best thing? If you can get into the house with them and be with them, then that's what she did.
Right.
So by the time I came in the picture, Heather's dad had passed away like a year or two before.
Oh, okay.
And and Cherokee, Heather's dad did not do like Cherokee's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Cherokee's dad, or excuse me, well, yeah, because they adopted him. But her granddad, he didn't pester with Cherokee. He didn't treat Cherokee wrong that I know of. I think he treated her equally as he did Cheyenne. He didn't flip flop like Heather's mom did.
Mm-hmm.
But then he passes away, and then Cherokee's got who? Her mom, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, lo and behold, I come in the picture, and boom, now she's got me there, and I've had stepped up many a times for her. So was her mom.
Right.
But now I've just lost my concentration on what you asked me.
No, it's okay. You know what? I honestly don't either. Oh, well, I was asking about the day that the day that the incident happened. Was that she had been checking in with her mom, so I wanted to know, had she moved in with her mom? So what you were saying was that the mom,
right? Yeah.
So mom lived with grandma, and grandma still had custody.
Actually, it was all of us in one house.
Okay.
Because while Heather and I were dating, I was actually I'm originally from Oklahoma. I came to Tennessee in 2005 and was living with my cousin and her family. Well, my cousin passed away the year that me and Heather met. And so it was just me and my cousins living in a house, her sons, and they're teenagers. So they get wild hair. They want to have parties all the time. So I wound up having to move out. And Heather's mom suggested that I move in with them.
Right.
So I did. And I haven't left since. So we were all living in the same house when that happened.
Okay.
At the time, Heather owned her own cleaning business. And that's why Cherokee was checking in, because we weren't at home. We were actually at a new client's house when all this went down.
Oh, my gosh.
And I feel bad because Cherokee asked if she could go with us to this house. And I was like, this is a new client. Baby girl, I can't have you go because I don't know how they're going to react. And I don't want your mom to lose a client because that's our income, her income.
Sure.
And, of course, Cherokee was upset, but she got over it. And she asked if she could go to the park. There's a park. It's a block from our house. And Cherokee went there all the time. She'd walk. It's got a little track. She'd walk around, listen to her music, singing. And if you watch her YouTube videos, she likes to sing.
Right. No, she does. And she's got a beautiful voice.
So she was just checking in with us like, yeah, I'm okay. Or, what was going on. So, so yeah, we all lived in the same house.
So she's checking in. Everything seems okay. She goes to the park the first time. You guys it seemed like she was doing all right. And the way the book tells it now, this is something I've talked with Jude about, because one of the first things that I was shocked by when listening to the book was that nobody called 911. Like, I was shocked. So Jude said, though, the thing is that, yes, they were kids. So obviously, they panicked. They didn't know what to do. I understood that. But I didn't understand why everyone else that was called never thought of it. But she also said, that she wasn't sure we're still not sure how it all went down. So do you have a clearer picture now of what really happened that day?
I've got the police reports. Of course, I actually wound up being there. I'm actually the one that called 911, and I was like you, why didn't anybody call 911?
Right.
It even infuriated me more is that one of the kids, her parents were Laverne police officers.
Oh, geez.
You would think
she would know.
Exactly.
And that's what I said to Jude. I said, I'm sorry. These are not 2-year-olds. These are not 5-year-olds. These are 14 to 18-year-old people. How did they not know to call? I just don't understand.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was a parent that wasn't far off, or not for these kids, but a parent that had another kid at the park. Why didn't that person call 911?
Right.
So how do you find out about this? This goes down.
Okay, so Heather and I are at this client's house. We're cleaning. I get a text message from one of Cherokee's friends asking if Heather was with me, because I can't remember if Heather had her business phone on her or not, or for what reason they texted me. And I'm like, yeah. So I had Heather call that girl. And that girl said, check on Cherokee. Someone just called me and said she'd been stabbed. And we're like, what?
What?
Run that by me one more time.
Right. Like, she was just fine just a few minutes ago, right? Like, so,
right.
Yeah.
Well, we had known that about the bullies being there. But Cherokee asked if Cherokee wound up leaving the park and going home.
Right.
Before I even got there. And when she was at home, she was trying to calm down, hoping they would leave. She was actually texting Heather, telling Heather about the kids at the park, about them being mean to her, bullying her, whatnot. And then after a while, Cherokee asked if she could go back to the park. She said, I hope they're gone. And Heather's like, yeah, you can go back if they're gone. Well, at that time, somewhere in that time, that's when Cherokee grabbed a steak knife out of the block in our kitchen and hit it her little sweater that she had tied around her waist and went back up there. And so I wound up leaving the client's house, and it's maybe 2-3 miles away from where the park was.
Yes.
And I jumped in my stealth, and I had to be doing 100, 110 down these residential areas just getting to this park.
And had you called 911 at this point?
When I got there, I didn't know anybody hadn't called 911.
Oh, Jesus.
Right.
So I get there, and I'm like, all right, who called 911? Nobody does. Heather's mom looks at me and goes, I don't remember the number.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, it's
oh my goodness.
Oh.
That's like I don't know if you saw the movies back in the 80s. It was a oh gosh, I don't remember. It was Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and like the woman, she's running next to the pool, and she's like, what's the number for 911? What's the number for 911? I'm like, it's 911. Like, but wow.
Like blue collar TV. There's an episode where Larry the Cable Guy calls information for the number for 911.
Oh my God.
And he writes it on the wall with the strawberry. 911.
Oh my goodness. Like, I guess she probably, I'm sure she went into shock. You're the grandmother. I'm sure she just, I don't think it, just not thinking, just wow.
Yeah.
And nobody called. So do you think, like, I'm very confused on what happened that day. Do you think she went with the knife because she thought maybe she would scare them, or
That's
do
my
you
thought. Or protection?
Or protection, and then I just don't understand, how did it end up? That she, because that's not a suicide that's normal. Okay, most girls don't stab themselves in the stomach like that.
Nobody does unless you're a samurai warrior.
Right. Like, right. I mean, like, yeah, like on my honor, okay. But it was very jarring for me to think that that's how she ended up committing suicide. Do you think that she went there with that intention? Do you think that was just a spur of the moment thing? Do you think what my thought was is maybe she thought, I'll show you, I'm going to give myself pain. And then she thought maybe they would all, that they would call 911 and rescue her, and they would feel bad. And I don't think there was an intention to die. Do you?
No, absolutely not. I do not believe Cherokee went there with any intentions to die. And I don't think she went there with any intentions of hurting herself, because pain was not a friend of Cherokee. Cherokee,
right?
Her pain threshold was low. A few weeks before this happened, the year Cherokee passed away, I had purchased a 92 Dodge Stealth, which is basically a Mitsubishi 3000. Cherokee was the first one I took for a ride in it. Of course, I got on it, hot rodded it, and Cherokee told me when she turned 16, she wanted that car. That was her car. I'm like, you lost your damn mind. Anyways, like I said, a few weeks before she passed away, she was in the back seat, and I was going to buy, it was close to my birthday, because my birthday's August 17th.
Okay.
So I'd buy my birthday present. I was getting me a new subwoofer for the system that me and Cherokee had put in the Stealth. Yes, Cherokee helped me put a sound system in the car. She helped me put the seat covers in it. Anything I had to do with that car, she was out there with me.
That's wonderful.
And actually, there is a memorabilia on the back window that I still have the car. I've never sold it.
Right.
Right now, it's a backup. I'm trying to save mileage on it because, well, sentimental plus parts are expensive and hard to find.
Right.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my gosh. But so I forgot what
she was in the back.
Right, she was getting out and her foot got caught up in the seat belt and she fell and scraped her knee.
Oh.
And she broke her mom's phone in the process, but she was screaming bloody murder over a skin knee.
Right.
And she's had to go to the hospital because she would have a kidney infection or something. They'd have to give her a shot. It would take 6 nurses to hold her down to give her a shot.
Oh my goodness.
Someone like that is not going to take a knife and stab themselves in the stomach.
Right.
Right. So do you think?
My thoughts on the knife is there was like 5 kids. I'd have to seriously think about how many exactly there are.
Sure.
But I think she went for protection. Like, if they're going to jump me, I'm going to shoot. She starts slicing. And of course, she's angry because she's getting picked on.
Yeah.
I think maybe, possibly, part of what you guys said may have happened, that she may have taken the knife up there and she had it directly, this is what you're pushing me to.
Yeah.
And I think she could have got pushed. And if she got pushed down, she fell on the knife.
Right. Because it's just such an odd way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I just don't see a steak like that. You say a steak knife, like, when I thought about it, I'm seeing like for her to, when you push it into your gut and everything, that's a hard, long way to die. Like it's not an easy bleed out in 5 seconds, you're done. Like that's not a way to go. Like, and so I'm thinking like butcher knife, like a huge knife,
No.
And you're telling me a steak knife, that even makes it even more strange. Like what really happened?
It was a little bit steak knife, serrated edges and whatnot.
Did it just happen to go in just the right spot?
It went in so far, went through her stomach. There is a artery that runs behind your stomach to your legs.
Right.
Yep.
It cut that. Now.
Oh, there it is.
The knife did not come back. She didn't pull the knife back out. One of the kids that was there pulled the knife out, which is the worst thing you can do to anybody that's been stabbed.
Absolutely. You leave it in because it stops the bleeding from going so far, Right.
So they pulled the knife out. When I got there, the knife was off, somewhere else. And like I said, when I got there, nobody called 911. Cherokee was laying at the entrance of the park. Her eyes had rolled back. Her eyes were rolling around. And the best way I could describe her mouth was moving. And the best way I could describe it, and I don't mean it to be funny, but like a goldfish does.
Yes. Gasping for air.
Yes. That's why, the goldfish, but I think she was trying to tell me something.
Right.
And couldn't. That's what I think.
And so have these kids been questioned? Is there anything that has happened since this? Like, is it, no. How does it end up being just ruled just a straight suicide? Did it seem odd to you?
It did. And when I called 911 and the cops and ambulance finally found the park, which that blows my mind too. They can't find crap. But
wow.
They treated it as a homicide when they first got there.
Sure.
They had the kids separated. They had me off somewhere. Heather finally showed up, and which I have to say I'm glad Heather wasn't with me when I got there. I don't think Heather could have.
Oh gosh, no.
Turkey like that, and I still have nightmares from that day. That's an image I'll never get out of my head.
Yeah. Right.
The cops were treating it as a homicide at first. They were questioning the kids. They were questioning me, Heather's mom, and then they wanted to know if Cherokee was on medication. Well, yes, Cherokee's on medication. We tell them what they wanted. And then they want to know if there was anything in the house that Cherokee could have got into that's not hers. Well, at the time, Heather has had several back surgeries. So Heather was going to a pain management. her back was bent up, but she was still trying to work, and she had Oxycontins. Cops are already like, hey, maybe she took those, but we need to go count those. Okay, first of all, Cherokee doesn't like taking her own damn meds. She ain't taking somebody else's.
Right.
But we knew Cherokee ain't messed with those. But, okay, satisfy the police. When we got a chance, I came home, showed them, look, she ain't been in them. Count right on. And the ambulance showed up. Cops still doing their questions. They wound up life flight from Cherokee to Vanderbilt.
Right. Sure.
Heather and I were still stuck there an hour and a half to 2 hours after they life flighted her. Cops wouldn't let us leave. We should have been at the hospital.
Absolutely.
Instead, we're at this park that the cops wound up saying it was just a fight over a boy.
What?
They didn't even rule it as a bullying. It was a fight over a boy. Now, one of the boys that was there was Cherokee's ex-boyfriend. They were still friends. They didn't even talk about getting back together. But the girl that instigated everything was the boy's girlfriend at the time. And her parents are the ones that used to be cops.
Oh, geez.
And when they concluded their investigation, got the ME report and everything, and ruled it a suicide, the cop said it's not a case of bullying because it's a fight over a boy. And he told me, out of his words, Cherokee's last words were, and I know with podcast, I'm going to kind of clean it up.
No, you don't have, you don't have to. No, we cuss all the time. Don't worry about it. You can say whatever you want.
She said, and her words were, you think it's funny, call me a fucking whore, bitch, and a slut, and then she stabbed herself.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
That just doesn't make any sense.
There's a fight over a boy with that.
That just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense when you look at it this way and you hear all this, and I didn't think it made sense to me when I was listening to the book. I felt like it just didn't go the right way. You've got a young lady who obviously, like you said, she's got some mental health issues. She's got some former trauma, whatever, but this is not the way that a child like that takes their life.
No, and she was getting hurt compared to when she was younger.
Right.
She had improved 200%.
Right.
She wasn't as I don't want to use the word violent, but she wasn't as angry.
Aggressive. Right.
Aggressive. She wasn't as aggressive. There was none of the aggression that I saw when she was younger.
Right.
She was maturing. She was controlling her anger a lot better.
Sure.
And I used to bounce at bars. I took Aikido. So I know some moves. I was going to teach them to her when they learn to control their anger. I don't want to teach them something where they could wrap his arm up, go up to their knees, and rip every ligament in their arm.
Right.
An anger, or I'm going to be a lot of trouble going on. So,
right.
She was controlling her anger 200% better than she used to.
Right. Right.
And she was coming along so far, and all this.
So do you feel like it was more of like you said, an accidental death where maybe they were arguing and she fell and the knife went in? Because for it to be that far in, because even if you take it and you stab yourself, you're not going all the way through your stomach and all that to that artery behind it. That's got to be a lot, right, Colleen? I mean, you're the nurse, Colleen, so that wouldn't just be like, oh, it's right there.
No, especially for a girl who doesn't, or anybody who doesn't handle pain well, it's gonna hurt like a mother, and you're not gonna continue to force it in and to get it right in that exact spot, because you gotta go one solid direction and without quivering or shaking it. It's gotta be quick, deep, hard, and fast, like if somebody else stabbed you.
Or falling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or falling. Was she face down or face up when you got there?
When I got there, she was on her back. They were using her sweater over the wound, trying to stop the bleeding.
After they pulled the knife out, like
yes.
Oh,
and the girl that instigated everything was the one holding pressure on the wound.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I'm thinking you can remember to hold pressure on a wound, but you can't remember to call 911.
Right.
Yeah. But
that's wow.
Yeah, and when I got there, of course, Cherokee's on her back, eyes rolling around, goldfish face thing going on. The girl pulled the shirt back to show me the wound, and it was a small cut. I'm like, okay, maybe it ain't as bad. Sherokee had puke too, because you could see the puke around her mouth, or the stomach acid. And then, like I said, ambulance got there. They went to her for a minute. Light flighted her to Vanderbilt. At that time, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know she'd been stabbed or what. And, of course, finally the cops let us leave, and I have never, ever drove that car as fast as I did that day down through Nashville. And then we didn't know if she was in the regular hospital or the children's hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We had no information to go on where she was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, she's a minor, got to be in the children's hospital. Let's check there first. And luckily that's where she was. And from my understanding, her heart stopped 3 times on the helicopter, and they brought her back.
Bless her heart.
They were working on her. They couldn't get the bleeding to stop.
Yeah.
When we got there, they took us in a special room to wait for the surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
We were in there for a while. Heather's mom finally showed up. Heather's sister showed up. And then later on, more people showed up. The surgeon came in and told us that they weren't able to get bleeding to stop. That for some reason they were going to stop surgery right now and try to get the bleeding to stop.
Yeah.
So they were getting her all kinds of things to make her blood kind of thicken up and clot up. Clot. So they put her in ICU.
Oh.
And after a while, we were able to go in and see her, but her heart kept stopping in there too, and they had to keep bringing her back. And they told us, look, we can keep doing this all night long, but all we're doing is hurting her.
Yeah.
Basically, the way I looked at it is they put her in ICU to die. And I hate to say it like that, but
no.
I mean, there was nothing else they could do. You can't get it to stop. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a surgeon. I'm like, why can't you take a pair of bicycles to seal that pain off?
Right.
But they said if she does pull through, she does make it, she'll never walk, and she's probably going to be a vegetable.
I was given those same odds with my mother, and I had to make that same choice. So I understand.
That is the hardest choice Heather and I have ever had to make.
Yes, it is. Especially with a child. I can't imagine. It was, for my mom, it was hard enough. I can't imagine having to think of that for your own child.
And we were in the room when she had her last cardiac arrest. And we had
that's
told
so
them,
traumatic.
If this is the chances we got, these are the odds, she's going to be in pain or is she going to be a vegetable, then the vegetable's not a way to go through life.
Right. It's not living.
Right. And so we had to make the decision, let her go. And we were there when in the room when that happened, and me and Heather literally had to walk out of the hospital. And my boss, my supervisor, had come up there because I was actually supposed to work that night. I called him to cover me because what was going on, and he was on his way to work because he lives on the other side of Nashville. He was on his way to work. He swung by the hospital to check on her.
Right.
And was there when she passed away.
Oh my gosh.
And Heather and I, we couldn't even be in the building. We actually had to go outside and try to collect ourselves.
Sure.
Heather and I were outside a lot. Being in there was really tough. But Cherokee passed away at 8:53 p.m. And it actually started storming when she passed away, which we thought was kind of weird because when she was born, it was raining and lightning and all that. She passes away, raining and lightning.
Wow.
Yeah,
she came in a storm and went out in a storm. God.
Man, God's crying.
So, of course, who thinks about having insurance on their kids? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody.
I do now, but back then I didn't have any kind of life insurance. I had nothing on them. So, like I said, my boss was there. He called the plant manager. I'm sure he already done it already, let him know what was going on. Well, come to find out that the president of the company I work for gave me $2,000. They took up donations there's 3 facilities in the U.S., here in Laverne, Ohio, and Kentucky, and I got, I think, $1,200 just from their donations. Plus, they were donating on my GoFundMe account I'd set up. So because of that, we had enough money we could give her a proper burial.
Yeah.
And get her headstone and.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's just, gosh, I can't imagine. And I mean, it doesn't get any easier any day.
No.
Have you come to resolution with anything with the kids? Do you feel like you've moved past it and forgiven the children? Like, do you feel like
we feel that this is our hope that the truth will come out someday
of what actually happened that day?
Yes, we actually still have all the evidence that the police had still sealed like they had it up in my attic for that day. Doesn't get touched. We're really seriously hoping that, either one of them will grow conscience or they get mad at each other or let it slip what happened, and we can get truth and closure. I had the idea I was going to hire a private investigator, but $800 a day I can't do.
Right.
The rates I can't do it. There's no way.
But you have everything?
Yes. Everything is still sealed the way the police handed it back to us.
Interesting.
Have you ever talked to somebody about making that into a documentary, or?
The only thing the book, and that's Judith approached us about it. We've never thought about a documentary movie, or we didn't even think about a book. And I thought Heather was joking with me when she said that a author was interested in Cherokee's story, and I'm like, what? And, then we met with Judith and gave her the information we had, and then Judith talked to Heather's family, which a lot of them are drama queens. They'll try to make themselves look good.
Sure.
So some of the book does have true facts. Some of it not so true. I know the book, the way I see it, makes Heather look like the biggest piece of shit mother on the planet, and she's not. I've seen a lot worse. But when everything went down with the girls, her losing custody, she was young, missing, and just things didn't go right.
Sure. Well, and it'd be one thing if she lost custody and was like, well, that's it, I lost custody, and she doesn't have anything to do. But she made the steps to move in and be there and still be a mom to those girls. So that is a completely different situation than somebody who loses them because they're irresponsible and doing drugs and, leaving the children, in bad conditions and things like that. She obviously made the steps to be there, just by being in the home, so.
My mom abandoned me when I was 3, and she moved out of the state and came around less than a dozen times my whole childhood. She didn't care. She had other kids. I was having a family member like Heather who even having custody, she's still trying to be in her child's life.
Right.
I mean, like, my mom didn't, so it's a testament to, even if people don't make the best decisions, at least they're making an effort.
Yeah, she made an effort to be there for the girls. I'd like to investigate more. I have friends that are investigators, PIs, different things. I'd like to look at it more. Definitely. So, there's a case, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. Some people have heard of it, some people haven't. It's the case of Michelle Carter and Conrad Roy. It's the girlfriend who convinced the boyfriend to go ahead and commit suicide,
Wow.
And yeah, it's a very interesting case. It's one of the first times, though, that they presented bullying as a murder by suicide, and they won in the courts. She ended up getting, I think it was a manslaughter charge. She did 18 months because she was a juvenile when she committed, when the crime was committed.
Right.
He was suicidal all by himself. Don't get me wrong. Both kids had a problem, but she convinced him, through text messages over and over and over again. They had these conversations, and on the day that it happened, she basically, he had decided he was going to take his life by going and putting himself into like a gas chamber in his car,
Right.
So carbon monoxide poisoning. And so he came out of the car and he texted her that he couldn't do it, and she told him to get back in the car. And that was what sunk her ship. And I'm just wondering how you feel about that. Do you think this is something we should see more of, where holding somebody responsible for something like this, holding those children responsible for whatever happened that day, whether it be that they actually, did something themselves to her, or it was a tragic, accident through a fight. I mean, I feel like there needs to be some sort of responsibility held there. Yes.
I do too. Absolutely. Yeah. I've always said that. I'm like, even if, they pushed Cherokee down and Cherokee fell on the knife.
Right.
You're responsible for it. You're pushing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if I was to drive by and clip somebody's car and they go rolling down the hill, well, they wouldn't have rolled down the hill if I hadn't clipped their car.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just the domino effect. Something started it. And, I'm going to be held responsible for stuff like that.
Right.
Right.
And has no real strict bullying laws. They say they do, and apparently they don't. We tried a petition to get it stricter bullying laws, and nothing's going on.
It's very hard, and especially with the day and age of cyberbullying,
Yep, she had that too.
That's one of the things my daughter went through. And if I hadn't known, like if I wasn't a parent that checked in on my child, I would have never known what was going on with my kid in that sense. And she didn't even know what had happened. Basically, what happened with my daughter was her best friend. My daughter had borrowed her best friend's phone at one point in time, and she logged into her Twitter account. So then the young lady had my daughter's password. So she created an alternate Twitter account and began harassing, because we had started homeschooling my daughter at this point because of some harassment and different things that had happened. And so the young lady ended up making a Twitter account for my daughter. She created this account and started harassing like everyone at the school in different ways. She made very many racial slurs, and my daughter is the farthest person from ever making a racial slur about anything. Like she won't even talk like that at all, even if she's mad or anything. She just doesn't do that. And she's not that type of kid to bully other people. She's a brat. She can be mean when somebody is mean to her, but she's not that way just naturally. And so she was, she had gotten all the football players mad at her, all the cheerleaders mad at her, the different races mad at her, all these different things. We didn't know what was happening until some girl came on my daughter's Facebook page and said, "You better knock this off, blah, blah, blah." And I answered her back. I commented, I said, "Hello, this this is her mother. What in the hell are you even talking about? And so this girl began to tell me, and I said, you need to message me. So she messaged me and she started telling me what this was happening. She goes, well, she's BG Bad Girls. I said, what the hell is BG Bad Girls? What is that? And so she goes, well, you need to go look. So I did. And I was shocked. I was like, that is not at all how my child speaks. I know this is not her. You know, I knew it wasn't her from the second, but then I, you know, of course, as a mom being diligent, I called my daughter down here and I said, do you want to explain any of this? Do you know what this is? And she's like, Mom, I have no idea. I pulled her phone out of her hand right there. I went through, I checked everything. I'm like, okay, there is no sign of this, nothing, not even like, you know, oh, it's a second account, you know, like,
right.
You know, I went through it all and I started scrolling and looking at it and I could see that time periods that they were posting were times that I knew exactly where my daughter was. Certain times she was asleep, certain times she was doing homework with me. So I knew it wasn't happening. And so, but the plan is the girl had invited my daughter to a high school game. And the idea was to get her to that high school game. And the entire school was like, all these people were going to jump her. Now, my daughter doesn't even stand 5 foot. She is not even 100 pounds at this point in time. She weighed like 80 pounds. She's like less than 5 foot. She is frail, tiny. I mean, if one person had swung on her, I don't know that my daughter would be here today. And I only found out what was going to happen through talking to these kids, you know, and finding out. And then, you know, the girl, obviously this girl, she denies it. And there was only 2 people it could have been. So we went to the first girl's house and she said, you know, she goes, you know, I think I have to tell you, I'm pretty sure it's Casey. And I said, oh my God, how do you know? And she goes, because she was talking about something the other day and it just hit me totally wrong. And it's not me. You can look through my phone. And she handed me her phone. You know, she's like, here, look, you can look. And so when we went and confronted the other young lady, of course, you know, she lied. She didn't say anything. But then she texts the first girl and tells her, oh my God, my phone accidentally logged in to BG Bad Girls. That's not how this works. Like, are you stupid? And so I had that text message and I sent that to the police. We called the police. They came out and the police officer, he told me, he goes, ma'am, I'm very sorry. This is a gray area. It's cyberbullying. So technically it's a federal offense, but they don't have a lot of things in place to take care of this. And I can't do a whole lot because nothing has physically happened in a space that I can govern, you know. He's like, so the best I can do is I will go over there and I will put the fear of God in this child, you know, like I can threaten things that I can't necessarily do, but she won't know that, you know. He's like, so I'm willing to go do that if you want me to go do that. I said, absolutely, you know. So he did. And it took 3 years after that for it to finally come out and her to admit that she had done this to my daughter. And she, you know, my daughter because my daughter texted her years later and was just like, why? You were my best friend. I did everything with you. You were at my home all the time. My parents treated you well. They took care of you better than your own mom. Why would you do this? And she had no answer. And she said, because I was in a bad place at the time. And I thought that if I pushed everybody away, that then I would just be miserable by myself. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. She's lying, you know. But so my daughter went through. And so I think that these laws, like you said, they're just not enough, and they aren't concise enough to protect these kids, you know. I mean, it happens to adults too, don't get me wrong. We went through a terrible situation last year with bullying, which is one of the reasons why, you know, besides what's happened to my children, that we've taken this so seriously lately, you know. But it's sad because it doesn't happen enough, you know, and taking care of these kids and protecting them.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's Golo.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's Golo.com. Again, Golo.com.
Because I think a lot of the children that end up, teenagers that end up in that suicidal, that realm, there is a reason for that. A child just doesn't wake up one day and is like, you know what, I don't want to live anymore because nothing is happening to them. It's just not, it's not, they're not happy-go-lucky one day and the next day, there are 13 reasons why, right? It's just not going to happen. And so I just worry, I think that we need to press for harder laws. Now, I've seen that you have SAB, Stand Against Bullying. So what is that you guys have started?
That is something that Heather's brother started.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it all stemmed from Cherokee. And I don't know how far he's gone with it recently.
Mm-hmm.
I know back then he was pushing hard. He was having fundraisers. We went to some, and he was even promoting Heather speaking at them. And Heather doesn't like to speak in public. Heather doesn't like to talk on the phone. Heather's rather text somebody or something. She's, public speaking and anything like that. Heather doesn't want to do it. It's very uncomfortable for her. So, but as far as what he's got now going on with it, to be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't heard from him about it in a long time. I think pretty much if he's still got it going on, which I can't, like I said, I don't know. He may have given up on it because of the way Tennessee is right now, and he's got some health issues going on. He actually has to have a kidney transplant, and he's got to come up with $100,000 because to get a bionic kidney. So
Wow.
he's got his hands full as far as that goes. So I don't know too much about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable.
There's a lot going on around here with things.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much all the time, and then with this whole pandemic, I mean, good Lord.
Oh, yeah, cornholio virus.
Yeah. That's so funny. I like that one. I like that one.
Well, I started calling it that just because it sounded like cornholio.
Right.
And then I really started thinking about what cornholio was from Beavis and Butthead.
Right.
For my bunghole.
Pee for my bunghole, and you can't.
Toilet paper.
No, I saw the meme, and I just think that's funny. The cornholio virus. That is. Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the cornholio virus because you can't get TT for your bunghole.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Well, so what do you feel like sharing Cherokee's story is going to do? Do you feel like what kind of impact is it going to have, and what message do you want to share to others in this type of position?
Yeah, well, I hope that Cherokee's story, from the suicide point, suicide's not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I think back from when I was young, when I was a teenager, was I a bully?
Mm-hmm.
Did I pick on people? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was I a bully? No.
Mm-hmm.
Was I bullied? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back to myself, and I remember because, suicide's been around forever, and teenagers commit suicide because they're depressed for what reason.
Right.
It's been around since I was a kid. And I was thinking to myself, I was depressed, but I was never suicidal because I was like, the world ain't taking me out like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was my mindset. I'm not giving in to the world. The world's not going to win. I'm going to kick its ass.
Right. Right.
And so that, like I said, that was my mindset. But I know there's a lot of kids that don't think that way.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And Cherokee, she was depressed. Yes. Did I find things where she wrote, my life sucks, I don't want to live no more? Yes, I did find them. Did I have conversations with her about it? Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Did she mean that she wanted to commit suicide? No.
Were there ever any other attempts that you had seen before this? No.
Never attempted suicide. She may have wrote, now our pages, it says, I want to die, my life sucks.
Well, sure, but I think every teenager at some point in time feels that way. Exactly. You know, especially because being a teenager it's such a trying time, you know, like, because you have no control really over your life, but that's pretty much all you want is control over what is happening to you. Your body is changing. You don't have control over what you can and cannot do because your parents are telling you what you can and cannot do, how to think, how to feel, what to do, when to do it. Yes, you can go here. No, you can't go there, you know? So I think about that. And I think every kid goes through that of this is shitty, you know, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here. But I don't see that as being suicidal. I don't take that as being suicidal. There has to be very many more things to put a child into that suicidal realm. And I think that we need to take it seriously, but we also have to realize that those feelings are normal feelings for teenagers, you know?
Exactly.
It's what you do and how they're supported. I think I went through it in high school wanting to not live the life I was living. My mother was very sick, and a lot of pressure was put on me, you know, as an only child. My dad was gone. He left when I was 6, and he was not in my life till I was an adult. And we still have a very, very, very tender, I would say it's a very fragile relationship, you know. And so I remember thinking back, but I always thought to myself that I was too much of a coward to do it. You know, like there wasn't a way I could think of to do it that I would do it, you know, as a teenager. Now as an adult, I did try, you know, and, but I never wanted to die. Like, the thought process, I've always said mine wasn't a suicide attempt. Mine was an attempt at stopping the world that I was in. Like, I just didn't want to be on the world anymore. I wanted my merry-go-round to halt for a minute and pause, you know, like, because I just wanted to figure out, how do I get off this current merry-go-round and go do something else? Like, can I please ride the carousel? Can I ride the roller coaster? Can I ride something else? Because this is not cool. I don't like this, you know.
And why is your life so hard, but everybody else's looks like it's so easy?
Right. But then you think about it, but you know what? Everyone is fighting their own battles, you know?
Yep.
Even the people whose lives seem charmed or easy, you don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know the battles that they are fighting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that with Cherokee's story, I do think that there needs to be more of what, you know, to find out what really happened that day for you guys. I do think that.
Because there should be more knowledge about it. This is a very unique case of a young girl committing this kind of violent act in front of many people with nobody taking the steps to help her, even after she did it.
And pulling the knife out, that just seems, that one strikes me as odd, because, like, if you don't know to call 911 and you know enough to put pressure on a wound, I just can't understand who would walk over and just be like, I'm going to pull this knife out. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. That is strange. That is a strange act, especially for children. It'd be different like if an adult did it, you know. I think, like, okay, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to put pressure on it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do CPR. I'm going to call 911. I could see the thought process there. But for a kid, I can't see the kids walking over and going, well, the best thing to do is to pull this knife out. I can't see them. If they're too paralyzed to call 911, they're too paralyzed to pull a knife. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't, that doesn't add up.
Nope.
Gosh,
none of the stuff adds up in this.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just seems so odd of a way for all this to go down. And that my heart goes out to you guys that you don't have the closure that, you know, and I always think that's such a weird word to use, because I don't feel like in any type of tragic event like this, I don't see people getting closure. Maybe peace. Maybe that's what you need, resolve, peace, but closure. Right. Closure to me is like, I'm past it, and you're never going to be past it.
No.
Like, this is something you're never burying your child just on itself of a child who, maybe dies from cancer or whatever, any of the different things that can affect a child. That I don't see you burying your child. You're never going to get closure on that. It's been 15 years since my mother has been gone. I don't have closure on my mother being gone and the way she went, I don't have that. So I don't see how closure is the right word. I know we all use it, but it's not the right word. It, like I said, resolution or peace with what has happened, and I think unless you know what happened that day, I don't think you're going to find those things. And that's heartbreaking. And please give our best, our condolences and our care to Heather, because I can't imagine what a mother is going through with that,
And if there's anything that we can do, and I know we'll be in touch with you about some things, but if there's anything we can do to help you guys, please let us know.
Oh, absolutely. We appreciate it. I will say the Cherokee story has gone out a lot. I know it's gone international. On that page, I have set her memorial page. I get likes from Canada, Australia. So I know that the story's getting out there. And Cherokee has been honored a few times from different organizations. There was one, we have Victims Week. And the detective that investigated what happened to Cherokee came by here and told us that this group was wanting to get in touch with us because they wanted to honor Cherokee during Victims Week. And they did, and there's supposed to be a tree that is planted in Cherokee's name. And I spoke at the event, their little meeting. So there are, I don't want to say there's positive things.
No, there's got to, to find some positivity out of this, that it's impacting some people, that.
It's not just like Cherokee passed away and everybody's forgotten.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's.
Well, you want to think about the fact that her life and her death had meaning, that she didn't just die, and like you said, nobody remembers what happened, and I'm sure those kids, whether they they say it or not, I'm sure that is going to live with them for the rest of their lives. That is a trauma that they have all had to deal with too, in whatever way they did, whether it was an accident or an argument, or Cherokee really did just stab herself, or one of the kids did it, or whatever. I'm sure that every single one of those kids is impacted in some way, and it's traumatizing, so this story is just, it's very important. It's an important story to tell because I find it so different than any other story you hear, Yeah. Yeah. So now you said you have a memorial page. So why don't you tell people how they can find that?
Oh, okay. On Facebook, Heather and I have created a memorial page for Cherokee. Basically, it's just people that have read the book, go and just check it out. It gives some talk about Cherokee. I post on it from occasion. I'd like to post more about it, but sometimes I get there and I'm like, okay, so what am I going to say? Had a boring day today. Click. I'm bad about Facebook. I don't even get on my Facebook account very often, but and I'm trying to think how somebody could find it other than doing a search for Cherokee, because I couldn't tell you the exact address of it.
Well, so what's the name of it? And then I'll make sure that we link to it in our show notes for the podcast. But what is the name of the page? I've looked at it. I just don't remember the name.
I think it's in memory of Cherokee. Maybe say in memory of our daughter, Cherokee Harriman.
Okay. And folks, I will go ahead and put it in the show notes if you want to go over and support the family and learn more about Sherokee and see her little videos, and because that's where I found her videos. They were very cute, and she's full of life, like you said, and it's very sad when a child's life is extinguished too fast, too soon. So, well, Mike, we thank you for being on with us today and sharing your story, sharing Cherokee's story. Like I said, is an impactful and important story. So we'll let you know what else we can do with this, and we'll see what we can do to get more recognition for this story, because I really do feel like it's something that needs to be told and told often. It definitely is a interesting tale. So.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for thinking about Sherokee.
Yeah. Thank you for telling it. And
yeah.
You stay safe, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. You have a good one. Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We absolutely love hearing from our listeners, and we'd like to invite you to send us a question for us to answer or a case you'd like us to cover. You can drop us an email at goodwivesdish@gmail.com, and we might feature it in one of our next episodes and give you a shout out. Right now, we are also hosting our #LoveWins Scholarship Fund. If you're a college-age student who would like to enter, send us a 30-second video telling us about how you lead with love. Email your entry to us with a little bio about yourself and your educational goals. And if you'd like to learn more about our #LoveWins campaign for peace, merchandise, or donation details, go check out our informational video on youtube.com/murderbydesign. We look forward to hearing from you.
Along with our Love Wins campaign, we are also launching an organization that is tentatively called the Gale Force. The term Gale Force is used to describe a very strong, fierce wind. The acronym GALE stands for Good Apples of Law Enforcement. Usually, when we hear about any incident involving wrongdoing by a member of law enforcement, they're generally referred to as bad apples, which leaves people asking, where are all the good apples? We know they exist, but we don't get to hear from them enough. That's where the Gale Force comes into play. The Gale Force would be a safe space for those good apples to unify and take action against the bad apples. We believe that good outnumbers bad in all aspects of life, and those numbers are where that Gale Force of fierceness and strength come from. When good unifies, bad will always lose. There are issues in the law enforcement profession that need to be rectified, and we believe that the best way to resolve them starts from within. There's what we call the blue wall of silence, which is an informal rule among police officers not to report on a colleague's misconducts or crimes. It's time to tear that wall down. Officers are often punished if they break that wall of silence. An example of this is Officer Carriel Horn, who we've been hearing a lot about recently. Back in November 2006, she stopped another officer from putting a suspect in a chokehold. She was fired after 19 years on the job and lost her pension because she intervened. Also, the stigma that goes along with members of law enforcement seeking out mental health care needs to end. Studies have shown that members of law enforcement are less willing to seek care because of embarrassment and shame. Keep in mind, this is a high-stress profession with a higher suicide risk than other professions. There have also been some studies that indicate that if an officer receives support from their unit, they're much more likely to seek help when it's needed. We believe the good members of law enforcement far outweigh the bad, but we also believe that the system needs to be changed to give them a louder voice without fear of retribution or desertion by their colleagues or superiors. We hope the Gale Force can be a first step in giving these law enforcement officers from all over the country support and a way to come together and say, we will not stand by and allow anyone to tarnish the profession that we have dedicated ourselves to. We're going to clean the barrel, one bad apple at a time.
Thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives.
Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get the inside documents and pictures from the case, bonus mini podcast episodes, live YouTube discussion, and an exclusive invitation to our discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more inside information, check us out on YouTube at Murder by Design, where we're currently talking about a few different true crime cases, from bullying murders to serial killers. We dish it all.
Have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time.